What's good, YouTube? Here are my settings going into the new Warzone. This is me breaking down my graphics, my controller settings, my interface, and just everything that comes in general with this new Warzone. So let's get into it. So here we are going down the list. We're going down through the controller settings. A lot of people always ask me my controller settings, if I play claw, if I play with paddles. I play with a default Xbox controller or default Xbox cuff controller. This was personally made so it has no back paddles, no digital trigger, no nothing. I am a old-fashioned person. I love just the feeling of an old classic controller. Play default everything. I play claw, of course. No changing in my buttons, nothing like that. Dead zone, I have it to 6/8. My right stick is a little bit more loose than my left stick. As well as this is all personal preference. You don't never need to copy me. Whatever works for you just works. As well as the left and right triggers. Going on with controller or Xbox controllers, the sticks or the triggers are really loose. So honestly, I just always put it down to the bottom. I could probably shoot faster with it when it comes to like those type of fights that I panic. Aiming 6 cents, as well as I have this at 1.6. I don't think this actually does anything, but for my just feeling, I put it up there just to kind of just think that it would do something different. 0.85. I usually change this a lot. I know a lot of people use 190. People use more than one. Yeah, these are probably by far the only like things I mess around with. I don't really touch anything lower than this, as well as maybe like my tack stance, but I don't really use that anymore, and my curve type. But 6.6, 0.85. I usually go from 0.8 to 0.85. Both of them are perfect for me, as well as that I'm a fast player, so I like to move around and get my aim kind of sticky in their mid fights. As well as dynamic, a lot of people ask standard or dynamic. This is all personal preference. Honestly, it doesn't benefit you with aim assist or anything like that. It just depends on if you want to play with a looser stick. Dynamic is the way to go. Standard is a more stiff, you know, you don't really have to worry about it. Honestly, it's just personal preference. You don't also need to touch this. A lot of people have been talking about touching this, but I would say don't. 1.0 focus, I don't touch that at all. Don't touch this at all. Target aim assist default. I know a lot of people are talking about using Black Ops because it is stronger, but honestly, I don't feel like that. I feel like default is way better. It's always been the better aim assist type. All in all, I think default is just way better. As well as this, I'm gonna go deep into this. I don't know if it's 100% correct, but going into this motion sensor advanced setting, you don't really need this. I hope you don't need this. You don't need to touch this at all, but if you can, make sure you turn this off. This will be on, I think, half the time for most of the people, but turn it off. This kind of makes less aim assist basically. I turned it off, thank God I did, because I think over time my aim got a little bit better. You don't need to touch any of this. This is all just random stuff. Now we're going into the gameplay. Automatic tac sprint. I know a lot of people use off or just regular sprint, but auto tactical sprint is by far the best for Warzone if you want to get around the map faster and stuff like that. As well as the slide maintain sprint. I know a lot of people have been talking about this in the YouTube videos, probably in their TikToks and everything like that, saying this is meta. This does nothing for me. Honestly, I don't think this does anything at all for me. I think it makes it even worse for me when I'm trying to snake people, because I try to prone and run at the same time, and then it automatically slides and stands me up. So I turned this off. I don't know, I'm still NC on it. Probably change it back sooner or later, but I don't touch this at all. Don't need to. If you guys want to, of course you guys can, but for now this is off for me. As well as single tap run. I know a lot of people do double tap or single tap sprint. Single tap run is basically like if I'm snaking, or if I go prone into a mid fight and want to slide to the right, or like run out of my prone, I usually tap my left stick. I just have that habit. I always do it, as well as pressing my D-pads and my mute button and stuff like that. Single tap run helps me with that so much more and makes it easier for me. As well as automatic airborne mantle. I know a lot of people have it off. I have it partial because I do a lot of jump spots. If you know me from last year, or like even Verdansk, I used to love doing jump spots. That was literally in my nature, just to find every single jump spot in the map. Still working on it this year, but this helps me so much when trying to mantle stuff. As well as if you have it on, it kind of messes you up sometimes. But on the law, I have it on partial. I turned this off because this is the worst thing ever. I hate this. It just sucks. It just sucks. Okay, just sucks. I don't like it at all. You can be mid fight and then freaking mantle and hang on something mid fight, so it just turn it off, okay? As well as slide and dive behavior. Okay, this, a lot of people are antsy on whatever. You can either have tap to slide and be able to dive if you hold the B button or circle, but if you want to just slide, which I feel like is better for this COD, I would say turn on slide only. You just have to tap it. There is a bug going around where like you might dive every like sometimes and stuff like that when you're opening doors and stuff, but all in all, slide is better for me. Hopefully they come to this fix to fixing the dives, as well as dive only and type to dive. I don't see it working in this game. This is probably the best setting so far in this game right now. They are talking about in the future adding it to different key binds or controller binds, meaning that if I want to have B as my dive and say, I don't know, right stick A or something to my like slide, I could do that, but I don't see myself doing that at all. Plunging water, I have it a free. Don't really know what it does, but I just set it to free, just, you know. I know a lot of people have it on trigger, but I think free is better for me. Parachute auto deploy, don't need that. I like getting real close to the floor before pulling out my chute. Might break my legs few often, but all in all, this is by far the best setting for parachute auto deploy, having it off. Sprint door bashing, I am a solo squads player. I am a competitive player, so I usually run. Occasionally there's doors there, as well as like if you want to have this off, it does help you if you want to be more quiet, but I like to just go crazy with my movement, so having this on helps me so much, going through doors and then running back through the door, going through the door. There's a lot of movement tricks you can do with these settings, basically with the door bashing, but having it on is good for me. As well as this movement base, you know, when you mantle and you're trying to get on the top of the mantle and it just keeps making you jump, it sucks. It sucks. It's the worst thing that is with the mantles. I would say having this on movement base, you could just literally move your stick to the left or the right and it'll move your guy to the right and not just mantle you. It kind of sucks. I do not like that, and I hope they fix that, but honestly I have it on movement base. It just works for me, you know. As well as for the future, a lot of people have, I think, this auto attack. You can turn this off. I don't have it off, but you can turn this off. A lot of people have it off. It just helps you out with tac stance. Tac stance is annoying, I know it does, especially in multiplayer, but for Warzone we have the option of having the scope out already for us. But if you guys want, you guys can turn this off. It doesn't affect you in Warzone. It actually benefits you. I have it on just in case of something, you know, but turning it off helps 10 times. Priorities interact. Honestly, this is all personal preference. I prefer grabbing equipment before reloading, so I always have this on interact, as well as like opening doors. I do a lot of stuff with like by interacting with the map or interacting with stuff on the floor. I don't like reloading. I can just hold my button just to reload. So if you have this on interact, you can press X or square, I think it is, on everything on the floor. It picks it up instantly and stuff like that. You have no problem with it. If you hold that button, it'll automatically reload it. It benefits you so much with it. I personally have this on this. A lot of people might have this on this, but I have it on interact just for the better of me. As well as armor plate behavior, I use this because I play claw, so my pointer finger is on my Y button always. But if I'm going through the map and I'm solo squatting and I break someone and they break me back and then I kill them and I'm running away, I like to be able to hold Y and have it apply all my plates, and I could just slide cancel around the map and maneuver and everything. So applying all is way better for me. If you can, I would say use this. If you don't want to and you want to be more like strategic with your plates, by all means go ahead. It doesn't hurt to switch. Directional buttons, so you have the option of using your D-pad buttons. You have the option of using your D-pad buttons as well as with your stick. I use my D-pad. I use my thumb, my right hand thumb, to cross my other side of the controller and use my backpack. A lot of people think that's weird. I'm just super used to it. I prefer it. I love it. It helps me so much. Stick, it'll automatically move you forward. It just sucks. I don't like it. It makes me get into those fights where I accidentally do that and I forget, and then I'm stuck dying in the gulag and stuff like that. So directional buttons is better for me. All personal preference. If you guys want to, you can use this as you're sprinting and stuff like that, like going through the map, but honestly I don't use that at all. As well as, let's go to manual fire behavior. A lot of people have this on hold, so if you have a burst weapon or a single tap weapon and you put this on hold, you can hold your trigger and it'll automatically shoot all the buttons for you. You do not need to press trigger finger it and everything like that. You can just have it on hold. It is really slow though. I do not prefer this. If you are the type of person who likes to trigger finger, having this on hold sucks. Honestly, press is the best for you. Just go with it. Just go with it. Now we're going into graphics. A lot of people have different graphics. I have a pretty beefy PC, so I don't really have to worry about my graphics a little. Like, I really like that. So borderless, I use borderless. You can use exclusive benefits you with your FPS, the feeling of the game, the delay and stuff like that, screen tears and stuff like that. Having this on exclusive is better, but since my PC is kind of beefy and I stream on single PC, I kind of have this on borderless sometimes, and I kind of switch to exclusive when I'm playing tournaments. I have a PG27 AQDM monitor. It is the OLED 0.03 millisecond ASUS. Really good, by far the best monitor in the market right now. It is pretty pricey, but for the pretty penny you can get like some good stuff out of that. I have a 4080. I have a Ryzen 7, I think 7800 X3D, so my frames are skyrocketing half the time. As well as display gamma, I have it on this. I don't really use this. I don't really know the difference. I think it might be worse. I think this is mainly made for TVs and stuff like that, so having this and this is better. My brightness is at 55. Man, the corners in this game suck. They're really dark and stuff like that. Hopefully they fix it, but 55 makes it able for me to kind of see that sometimes, so I usually go with this. As well as I have my NVIDIA control panel settings. Helps me a lot with my quality in the map as well as dark corners. Now we're going to the NVIDIA reflex low latency. I have this on boost. I have somebody who kind of fixes my PC every so often, just tunes it and stuff like that, puts the best settings and stuff like that. So I have this, he puts this on boost. It helps me out with my FPS and how the game feels for me over time. Eco mode, I don't really touch any of this. I don't really need to. If I were you, just custom and turn everything off, honestly. HDR, I turn this off. I feel like this kind of uses my FPS a lot and it kind of tears my screen, so I turn it off. It makes your game feel a little bit like slower and laggy. So honestly, doing this is the best thing for you. Going into quality now, I have 100% 2560 1440, basically my monitor. Dynamic resolution off, don't need that. Upscaling and sharpening, a lot of people use different ones. I honestly go for the last one, or well, the cast. This is by far the best one out. It helps with everything, makes your game look clearer, sharper, and every single thing. It might default to 0, so if I were you, I would automatically put it to 100 and your game would look beautiful. Trust me, your game will look beautiful. Path tracing, you don't really need this at all. Our VRAM scale, I have it on 80. I don't really know what people use. This was just tuned for me, so it's just like that. Going into details and textures, I just put everything low. I'm not gonna lie. Low texture resolution, I don't really need this, don't need that. Depth of view, this is horrible for Warzone. Detail quality, don't need that. My particle resolution, this actually boosts your FPS, so if you want, you can kind of put it up from what I'm told. Bullet impacts, don't need it. Persistent effects, don't need it at all. It's probably just makes your game probably slower, or just more like framey and stuff like that. Shader quality, don't need it at all. On-demand texture streaming, I turned this off. I think some people have it on. I turn it off. Local texture streaming quality, have it off or low. You can put it on either or. I don't think it actually does much. It just boosts your VRAM. As you can see, it goes from 2.7 to 3, so it has a little bit of a hit on that. Going into shadow and lighting quality, you don't really need any of this for Warzone. I guess if you want your game to look pretty, I don't really care for that. I just care about playing the game and shooting my gun. So I have everything on off and low, low, off, low. Don't need nothing like that. It honestly just probably makes your game worse frame rate wise and stuff like that, so I don't really use that. Going to environment, tessellation, have that off. Volumetric quality, don't need this. It's probably just, this is like when sun glares go through buildings and stuff. You kind of don't need that. Honestly, it doesn't do anything for you. You're still able to see shadows and the light in this map, so having this off just is a better option. Fixtures quality, don't need that. Water grid, don't need that. Just doesn't do anything for you. Probably just makes the game more blurry. Water wetness quality, I have this on wave wetness. I know a lot of people have it on different ones, but I think water wetness honestly is by far the best one for the water. You could be able to see through it, and if you see somebody swimming through it, you could be able to shoot them without having having a problem with it. All in all, this is probably the best option for this. Now we're going into field of view. I play on 120 with affected. A lot of people play on lower. A lot of people like the CDL play on 105, 110, stuff like that. I play on 120. It just makes me feel smooth, makes me feel good when I'm playing the game. ADS field of view, I have it on effective. If you have this on independent, you are a bot. Affected is the way to go. Trust me, less recoil. It just feels better. Okay, it benefits you in every single way. Weapon field of view, don't need this at all. Honestly, this doesn't do much. It makes the gun look bigger, makes the gun look smaller. Like, you don't really need that. Third person field of view, this is if you play third person zombies and stuff like that. I mean, this just helps a little bit. Vehicle field of view, this right here, if you are in a vehicle and you have this on either of these two and you're trying to see the outside of the car and stuff like that, you have a better option seeing more with this. You can see wider, you can see further, you can see everything better with wide. So if I were you, I would switch it to wide. Going into camera, we're at road motion blur, weapon motion blur, filmic grain, and then the camera movement and stuff like that. I have this all on off, and the lowest. You don't really need any of this. This just makes the game look worse probably. Off, 0, don't really need any of that. First person camera and third person camera movement. If I were you and you have this at these two, please just go to 50, please. It makes your game less shaky when you're walking and stuff like that. It helps with when you're moving around the map and stuff like that. Honestly, this is by far the best setting for this, as well as all of these. I don't really need all of these, as well as the inverted flashbang. This makes me feel like my monitor turns off. So honestly, that you don't need that. Just go to the fast, just turn it off. Okay, this just helps a lot more. All of this, that's basically it. Going into the global mix audio wise for the game, I have mine set to cinema. I used to have mine on PC, but I feel like cinema is probably the best. It helps me listening to footsteps on this audio. Like, if you know how that is, then you know how bad the audio is in this game. If I were you and you have this on stereo, please change to Windows default. If you have loudness EQ, I have a command in my chat, !audio, that basically shows you how to turn on loudness EQ. It benefits you, it makes the game louder, makes the game better, makes your gunshots lower and the footsteps louder. So I would say doing that is the best for this game. Having this on Windows default is better, as well as having it on stereo makes it lower and probably pretty ass. Going into the master volumes, I have mine set to 100 effects so I can hear the whole game. Having my dialogue when the person's screaming in my ears to pretty low. Gameplay music, need anything on this unless you want. If you go to color customization, you can just change everything on this. Like, if you add filters, if you want like to change your color for the map. I don't touch any of this. I like the game how it looks. It's beautiful. Touching all of this doesn't really matter, doesn't do anything for you, doesn't make it better for you, but doesn't make it worse. All in all, I think that is probably it. Going into the minimap, please change this to square. If you want it on round, you are a bot. You are a bot. Please put it to square. You see more, it's better for you. As well as going to the rotation, please turn this on. Don't just let it have it where your guy's just in the middle of the minimap always. As well as to the right side of the screen, as you can see, it kind of tilts and stuff like that. Kind of goes like horizontally, rotation and stuff like that. It's just better for you. Compass, this is something that I don't think matters anymore. It used to matter a lot back in the old Warzone, but in this Warzone there is pings on the minimap that benefits with the minimap square. Compass, I don't think has a problem anymore. It doesn't matter to anything. Crosshairs, I have mine on and with default. I use this a lot. It helps me with my centering, as well as I see a lot of people always looking down to their feet when they're moving around the map for their centering. Please just look to the chest level, please. It just helps you with your gunfights, helps you get ready for all your fights and everything like that. This is by far the best setting for this, as well as having it default, not having a static. Hit marker visuals, just if you want to see what you shoot. This just turns it red when you get a kill. Player names, I have mine just a regular. You don't really need anything like this. You don't need, yeah, this just doesn't matter at all, honestly. The rest of this, you can just set it to all you want, as well as your telemetry. I have mine set to FPS counter, latency, packet loss, and clock. Don't really need anything like this. This doesn't help me with anything, as well as my temperatures. I don't really need to touch anything. This is just the best settings for me. So that by far goes to showing all my settings to going into the new game, showing everything, breaking it down, telling you what I need and what I don't need going into the competitive scene, going into playing the game and enjoying it. All in all, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you guys use some of the settings. I hope you guys listen and pay attention to most of the things I say about the settings. It benefits you in every single way. Copying the settings, honestly, these are by far the best settings in this Warzone. I hope you guys use it. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.